Okay, here we go. Part two.
This is how we make sure it's safe. So I try to do that standard same thing every time, show them how to check their own gun and show them how to make sure it's safe.
I try to do the same thing each time. What do you mean by try? Do you or do you not? When you say try, does that mean sometimes you don't? Is this one of those times that you didn't? I mean, I know the answer is going to be yes. She's going to say yeah because they threw too many balls. But I want to get that out. I want to help her give me a statement that is true and with most information that I can use.
And then I have them draw it a few times, with nothing in there. Make sure that they have the draw down. Usually a little before that, I'll have them just fire off a couple of quarter loads, so they can get the idea of not drawing it from.
See, so she's going a lot of usuallys and everything. We haven't established the difference between usually, what did you do this time? How many times did you do it this time? Who did you do it with this time? We haven't got any of those, and we'll never know.
Their thing, but just holding it and firing it so they can understand what they're going to be doing. Okay. And then after that, we work on the actions that they're going to specifically do. So, if I know that they have a scene and everything, we kind of talk it out together and how they would run, pull it out, what they could do, how not to let it fall on the ground, how not to let rocks get inside of it.
Look, actors don't want to hear about how not to let the gun fall out and rocks get in it. I'm doing a freaking scene, and I got better things to do than worry about rocks getting in the gun. But I think she's just making shit up now. That I really doubt that she tells an actor, hey, when you're doing this scene, make sure you don't let rocks get in the gun. I highly doubt she's ever told an actor that. She's already I can't really control them and they're on the phone. And if she can't speak up when they're doing that on a safety briefing, you really think she's going to tell them, make sure during this scene that you don't get rocks in the barrel? I don't believe that.
Yeah. Makes sense. Mm-hmm. What about safety rules?
This girl, she doesn't give a shit either. I mean, she's as, you got one idiot interviewing another idiot and you're wondering why nobody's going to get charged. Jesus Christ.
Advise them any of those safety rules, such as I tell them all the time not to point them at each other. That's my biggest one, and I always say to everyone.
Well, obviously that didn't work this time because Alex pointed it at somebody. Why do you think that happened? Why do you think they didn't listen? Did you tell Alex not to point the gun this time in this movie, not to point the gun at anybody? She's going to say no. Did you tell the person that got shot, don't stand in front of a gun? In any safety briefing at any time, did you ever tell the person that got shot, the two people that got shot, not to stand in front of a gun? If she said yes, that's good. That's relevant. I need that. We'll never know.
One in front of them, I'm if you don't have to be here, don't be here. Other than that, safety-wise, I tell them to keep their finger out of the trigger guard unless they're ready to shoot.
Oh, really? You tell them that? Did you tell Alex that? Do you remember specifically telling Alex that? Did you tell him more than once that? Why do you think he had his finger in the trigger and pulled the trigger if you told him that?
Because that's how a lot of accidental discharges will happen. And that's just what my dad's told me, at least. So I always try to advise them.
A lot of accidental discharges happen? So this is routine for these things to happen? Wow.
To keep their finger out of the trigger guard, and yeah. Okay.
See the interviewer? Okay. Yeah, just tell me a story. I'm just going to ask a question that I really don't know why I'm asking or what I'm doing, or I'm not really looking for specific answers. I'm not really trying to solve anything here. I'll just let you tell a story because I'm an investigator, top-notch investigator on this homicide case in this freaking podunk PD. Man, I can only imagine what the rest of the department looks like if this is the person that's excelled to become their homicide investigator. Wow.
Besides you, were there any other trained armorers on the set?
Sarah was kind of trained by Seth.
Here we go with kinda. Hopefully we'll get this clarified. Nope.
Yeah.
She just writes it. I mean, even somebody interviewing. She was kind of trained. Well, what do you mean kind of trained? What kind of training do you know she had? Did you train her? Did y'all both take training? What? You said she's kind of trained. How do you know? How do you have knowledge of her training? Is she an armor? Is she not? Is there a Is there a standard? Can anybody be an armor because they sometimes get some training, not really good, but some training? Would Alex be considered an armor since he's done 50 movies with guns? Does that make him as an armor? I mean, ask questions, woman!
I believe Sarah did a show before, and I think that there were 2 guns involved in the show. And Seth, I trained her personally for that.
Okay.
And then I also kind of showed her what to do at the beginning.
I kind of showed her. Kind of. Sometimes, maybe, well, usually, you know.
Beginning of it to make sure that she wouldn't have an accidental discharge.
To make sure we didn't have an accidental. I'd say, well, in fact, on this set, there was accidental discharges, correct? Wasn't there 2 or 3 accidental discharges? How do you explain that? What did go wrong? Was there a safety briefing after him? I don't know if we'll get to those or not.
But she still did, so.
Yeah. So before any gun scene, even just like rehearsal or...
I wonder who wrote down all these questions for this crack investigator to ask. Because on the first interview, when she was with her female partner in crime, freaking the dynamic duo, Wonder Woman dynamic duo, neither one of them asked one damn question that was relevant. It was a waste of freaking time. So I'm wondering who wrote down all these questions for her to ask. I'm sure it was some mean testosterone male that, you know, we need more diversity.
filming or anything of the sort, did they do a brief?
You know, sometimes they would have time to like...
Here we go with sometimes. I mean, I would have to tell her, look, you're using sometimes, maybe, and not all the time a lot. I need specifics. I'm asking specific questions and I need specific answers. So let's stick to what you did this time in this movie. Not sometimes, unless I ask for a general. Okay? I've got to keep you on track. And I wouldn't be mean by telling her that. I would just say, hey, I got to get some answers here and I need your help.
Like really go into it and everything and like kind of, you know, work out the action. Sometimes they would do like an overall one, you know, where they kind of just say like bang, 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 bang. So we did have some rehearsals. Sometimes, you know, there was...
We had some rehearsals. How many? Who was there? Who controlled them? Do you keep a log? How do we know who was there? How do you know who was there?
And always rehearsals.
Okay.
So sometimes, yeah, we totally had like rehearsals. Usually.
So sometimes, usually. Sometimes, usually. Maybe. Not always. You know. What the?
Usually the big ones, and we just kind of have people go bang, 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 bang.
All right. As far as... So what?
No follow-up. See, this is why you don't have an investigator that doesn't have an investigative sense and no experience. Somebody wrote down these questions for her, so she goes in there and she's just following the questions and asking. She's not thinking why the question was written down, what I need to ask, where this leads me to, how I follow up. She doesn't do anything. She asked the question that was written down for her by someone else, and then she lets her give her answer, and then she moves to her next question. What a horrible interview to seek and gather information on a dead woman that shouldn't be dead. What a disservice to this woman that's dead.
What it's been referred to as the show and tell day, where you brought out pretty much everything, right?
Yeah, we brought out everything.
Oh, now she's coaching her freaking to be general. Pretty much everything, right? Oh, yeah. You know, pretty much you do this sometimes, always, usually, right? Oh, yeah, absolutely. Great. Yeah, you guys are...
Free gun that we had that Seth gave to us, and the director really just wanted a lot of options for people, especially because there are so many big names on this. So he wanted to be sure that all the actors knew that it was possible for them to switch around with guns, and that just because we had thought that they would look good with that gun doesn't mean that they were stuck with it.
Okay. Can you go into a little bit more detail about how this day played out? Like, where did you guys set up this table?
Okay.
And...
Yeah. So the day played out. We go to the edge of the town and everything, away from all the people working on the other side. They set up a table. They set up an easy up.
Who the hell is they, and why does she let her keep using they? This is how you get out of crime. This is how criminals always say, you know, when you're interviewing them, well, you know, I was told, or it was the other guy that did it. Who's the other guy? I don't know his name. It was the other guy. Oh, okay. So now, instead of saying it was the other guy, she's going to say they.
For us, and the prop truck was coming later that day, so that was finally the first day that we got to get the prop truck going. I brought a gun safe in my tiny Hyundai, fitted in there, and so I had that with me right next to us, and I kept...
You brought a gun safe? Is that your personal gun safe? Is there a gun in it? Do you keep a loaded gun in it? Is it... What the hell is this new gun safe that she keeps in her car that came up? Do you think Wonder Woman is going to ask any of these questions? Tattooed Wonder Woman is going to ask?
All the ammunition in my trunk and everything, and Sarah had all of the guns in her trunk, and so we took all the...
So now we got guns in your safe, in your trunk, ammunition, and in Sarah's car. How is there control? I mean, there's just so many questions for somebody. I see a lot of people that aren't in a technical, highly detailed position to where you have checklists and you're dealing, you know, with somebody that maybe died. You don't understand the importance of this lackadaisical freaking, you know, fly by the seat of your pants freaking style. You just don't do that when people's lives are at risk. You can't have aircraft mechanics that are keeping planes in the air going, yeah, sometimes I tighten it with, 5 pounds. Sometimes I use 20. Sometimes I follow the checklist. Sometimes I know. Sometimes, I just change a bolt and I don't really check the specs to see what it's shear and what's supposed to be there. I just grab a bolt out of my toolbox that was laying there and put it in a plane. See, you don't do that shit when lives are at stake. This is oh, Jesus Christ. Are you kidding me?
Those guns out of the trunk, and we put them on the table. We had 2 tables, so we had 2 tables filled with long rifles, short guns, a lot of guns.
Field and a lot of guns. Do you think anybody will ask how many guns? Where was the log? Where did these guns come from? Is there a list of all these guns? Does somebody has to sign for them? You think we'll find out any of that? No, Rick, why are you picking on these poor women? Okay.
And then also, once the show and tell was over, Joel was pretty cool. He was happy with everything. After that was over, he stuck around, and then, I think the first couple of actors showed up for training and everything, because I remember they said, okay, you're...
And everything. Training and everything.
Going to have, 3 at this time.
Going to have,
And, 3 here and 3 there, and I was like, all right, that's kind of manageable. And it is kind of manageable, and it definitely, I've worked with 2 at a time before. 3 is manageable, but, also then all of a sudden with the actors, all these producers came, a ton of producers.
Here we go with a ton again. Anybody know how many producers? Anybody ask themselves, wonder how many producers they got? Oh, well, the answer is the ton. Crack investigator extraordinaire figured out and cracked the case wide open. If you want to know how many producers are there, it's a ton. Perfect.
And so the producers are just kind of behind us the whole time. The guns are out there. We put a lot of them away that we didn't need for the training that day. So Sarah put a lot of those away, and we just kept those in my car because I had the safe, and ultimately I was going to put them in the safe at the end of the day. And then so the actors came, we started training and everything. And then all of a sudden, a producer just jumps into the training because I guess he was also firing, but they didn't schedule him for me. So at one point, I was training 4 people at one time.
So it sounds like you really didn't have control. It sounds like producers can do what they want and you can't stop them. You have no authority, even though you're responsible for safety. Is that what you're telling me? I mean, and I'm not, people are going to say, well, you just want to make her look bad. I'm not trying to make her, I'm trying to get a feel of how this works. I need to understand that may be factually true. Armors are nothing but a checklist. They have no authority. They can't call anybody out. They'll get fired. They're hired by producers. They work for all the producers. Everybody is their boss. They're low man on the totem pole. That actually helps her when it comes to criminal liability. But we'll never know that because a crack investigator extraordinaire thinking about her next tattoo.
Which is a little chaotic. Yeah, so
when you had them, sorry, but when you had them all out on the table, how many people would you say were there, like max at a time, that were
probably like 10
messing?
10 people? Is that including the ton of producers? How many actors and how many producers? Because you've been saying a ton of producers.
10, and like not everyone was really allowed to mess with them. You know, like a couple producers like would ask.
So now we got down to a couple producers. What happened to the ton?
If they could touch them. Ultimately, I always get pissed at people if they touch them without my permission.
Okay.
Joel,
because I'm, you know, that's one thing I'm a control freak about. If you touch it without my permission, I'll give you permission. You can do it. You can give me as many people as you want, and I can't control, and I can't stop you, and you can ask questions, and you can disrupt my training. I won't say anything about that, but if you touch without my permission, then I got a problem.
I let do that. You know, Joel is the director. He can touch them.
Oh, he's the director. Why can he touch them and nobody else? Are you saying the director's in charge? Do you work for who can fire you? Can anybody fire you?
But yeah, other than that, most people were there, and most people would be like, wouldn't even ask to touch them.
So it sounds like I'm being hard on this girl, this armorer. She is young, inexperienced, shouldn't have the job, sloppy, non-caring. There's a lot of bad things about her, but her inability to articulate the facts that need to be getting out is not her fault. It's the investigator's fault for not drawing it, keeping her on track, and asking specific questions to draw specific answers. So a lot of people think I want to be picking on her because she can't explain. She's doing the best she can with the skills she has, which is why she probably shouldn't be a freaking armorer and shouldn't be in charge of any damn thing except maybe making a sandwich. But the investigator is supposed to be the trained professional, government-paid flunky, academy graduate, promoted off the streets, became a detective, promoted from detective to homicide detective. This is the crack-notch investigator that works the most serious crime, a homicide. This is what we get. Wow. Diversity is our strength. Aren't we strong?
Yeah. Good, like, 10 producers were there.
Okay.
Yeah. And Gabby and Ro were there at the beginning, and eventually, like, they left with kind of everybody.
Okay.
And then towards the end of... So at the beginning of the day, I was supposed to train 6, and then I had an hour-long break, you know, and...
No, I don't know. You say you have an hour-long break. What, do you get an hour break every hour of work? What is this hour-long? Is this lunch? Or do you get an hour break in the morning and night? I don't understand what this hour-long break is.
I think I was there from like 9 to like 2 or 8 and 9 to 2, just training actors pretty much the entire time, and doing the show and tell. And then so I trained 6 of them then, and then plus that producer that they threw in there randomly. And then after that, an hour went by, and I trained Devin and I trained Miller. And yeah, and the last guy didn't show up.
Okay. Who was the producer that you trained?
Nathan.
Okay. Do you remember his last name?
No, not really. He was on set a lot. He was like a nice younger one, kind of.
Okay. How long would you say you spent with each group training?
With each actor, probably like 30, 20 minutes or so. Yeah, usually I...
30 to 20. See, her mind doesn't even work in a logical manner. Most people would say 20 to 30 minutes, going lower to higher. That was how most people, especially people who were detail-oriented, would go 20, 25, 30 minutes. She goes 30 to 20 minutes. I
like to work with the actors one-on-one and get like a full 30 minutes to an hour in, you know? But that's just not how it went on this one.
Who's responsible for making that decision? Why didn't it go that way? Did you bring this up to anybody? Did you express these concerns to anybody that you're expressing to me now? Those would be nice questions.
About call.
Gabrielle.
Okay. Did she give you a time limit?
She just put 3 people together. Like, she scheduled it like that, and she said they had other things to do and had other, they had to go and do training with the wranglers. And a lot of this training was, like, the day before. Yeah, they're like, ride a horse now, and now you get to shoot a gun. And, like, yeah.
You get to shoot a gun off a horse.
Yeah, honestly, this is crazy because a lot of the times they have actors start working with the horses, like, months in advance because you can grasp the guns a little quicker than like a weird living animal and all.
Actually, that's a pretty stark statement. I agree with her. So there she is being pretty logical. A gun is an inanimate object that if you do certain safety things, it does its job if you do yours. Whereas a horse, you're concerned about spooking and noise, and it's a living, breathing thing, and they all have different reactions and different experiences. So she actually made a pretty good articulate statement there.
All that stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they didn't have people training on horses well in advance for this either, which I thought was pretty wild.
Another total off subject.
If I trained this girl to be an armorer, I think she could probably be a pretty good armorer. To me, her dad didn't train her very well. Her dad didn't give her standards, didn't make her confident. He just babied her and let her tag along. And she's got this, I don't want to rock the boat. I'll just listen and don't do anything. And I won't say much. And I don't want to piss anybody off. And that's not the person you want in charge, or people die. And that's why this woman's dead. And she's not going to get any justice because this woman can't do a damn interview and has no business in the job she's in. But it's PC and it's correct.
But I was, we brought Jensen in here and spoke to him, and I found out that the gentleman...
Man, if it wasn't for the freaking CC, I wouldn't know what the hell this woman's saying. She is a mumbling, non-talking, lacks confidence, not showing in control of this interview whatsoever. Raise your hand if you think somebody I was interviewing ever had to say, can you speak up? I can't hear you. You're mumbling. Raise your hand if you think out of the thousands of suspects that I interviewed that any one of them ever said, hey, man, I can't hear you. Can you speak up? Yeah, okay.
Who provided the horses for this set, I used to actually be a wrangler for him.
Oh, really? That's fun. Isn't he so cute?
His horses are terrifying.
Yeah, no, the horses are scary. I honestly, I was trying to get out of Westerns because every Western I'm on, a horse almost kills me.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Yeah, now she's lost me. Now we're going to get into blaming horses. Horses don't almost kill people. People do stupid shit around horses and get close, and then they spook the horse because they don't understand the horse, and then the horse kicks at them, and then they say, that horse tried to kill me. Okay, that's what she means.
Shit you not. Like, horses back up crazy, and like no one even said like...
No, horses don't back up crazy. They back up because somebody is putting pressure on because they feel trapped, because that's their only way out. That's why they back up. They back up to threaten because you're back there doing shit, and they know that people fire guns behind their head, and maybe you're swinging around a gun, and they're afraid that you're going to shoot a gun, and they can't see you because their head's tied up. I don't want to get into horsey shit here, but anyway, let's go.
Like, not to walk behind the horses on this. And I was like, Sarah. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, I was just like, the complete lack of just like, yeah.
Yeah, I used to wrangle for him. And
yeah, I love Rowley. He's a sweetheart, but yeah, the horses are bad. But honestly, like, it's been
the horses are bad. This woman's losing me rapidly.
A long time since I've been able to work with any really good horses because I have been doing independence. No one can afford, like, the good horses that Magnificent Seven had back when I was there in 15,
Well, he used to do all kinds of, like, trail rides and stuff like that, too. But, I mean, I can tell you, like, because he goes, when they do trail rides, they go up, that mountain that has a cross on it down at the end of Bonanza? Yeah. So he used to take the horses up that mountain.
Yeah.
And I just remember one day he put me on a thoroughbred thing.
Oh my God, this woman is now going to start giving her resume. She's already told us she worked at Hooters and they didn't like the color of her hair. And now we got to listen to her Yeah, you can talk when it has nothing to do about solving this case. You're really good at talking then. What? Jesus Christ.
Came off the track, a mare, and like she was hot. She was hot.
Wow, I'm a really experienced woman, and I've got tattoos, and I'm a police officer, and I got a gun, and I'm a homicide investigator, and somebody took me and put me on a horse, and I used to work at Hooters, and I don't care about you. This isn't about you. It's about the damn dead woman and getting justice. Freaking idiot.
A horse.
Yeah.
And so he like slightly drugged her up before this trail ride.
Yeah.
And
I remember a couple of the horses.
she was off in her own world. We'll just say that.
This attorney's like, what the fuck? I'm getting paid to be here. You're supposed to be asking my client a question, and I gotta listen to your freaking horse riding stories? Are you kidding me? You can't tell these stories because nobody else wants to listen to your dumbass, so you call us in here under the color of authority and make us be here, and now we have to listen to your dumbass horse riding stories and how you used to work at Hooters? Are you freaking kidding me? What the fuck?
Yeah, a couple of the horses got loose on this. One, like, made a full-ass run for it, like, 3 times during one scene. They did their best they could to catch it, and eventually they started catching it. But, like, it made 3 good runs, like, right past the bathrooms, and I was like, oh, my God,
thank you.
that's going to hurt somebody.
I love horses, but
I don't like horses because of Westerns.
I don't like horses. Wow. Yeah, let's blame the horses because of all the stupid people in Hollywood. The same Hollywood is getting people killed on a set that's hiring you to keep people safe, and somebody gets killed. Yeah, let's blame the horse. It's the horse's fault.
Westerns have made me not like horses. Horses and guns just suck.
Hannah, are you a certified firearms instructor?
I don't know.
Okay.
Are you kidding me? She's not a certified firearms instructor. She's instructing people on a set how to use a gun, and she's not a firearms instructor. Wow. Wow.
Are you a certified firearms instructor?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know, or you are?
Have you ever taken, like, any courses or anything to become an instructor?
No.
Okay.
No formal training. Wow.
Yeah, I'm not really sure if that's required for this.
Yeah, and it might not.
It doesn't matter if it's required. If you took your job seriously, you'd want to be good at it. If you're going to put yourself out as the expert in a field, you want to get as much training in that so you actually are the expert instead of just being hired and told you're the expert because your dad was an expert. Wow.
Not be, but more just, your background and your
totally.
interest in this kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, mostly just trained with my dad. My dad, probably wouldn't send me to go train with someone else exactly,
Makes sense.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, my dad wouldn't send me to someone else because he thinks his way is the only way. And he's the smartest guy in the room. And that's why he raised me to be a freaking idiot, to where I don't have to interview for a job. I get jobs for free. I don't take my job seriously. And somebody gets killed, and it's not my fault. Perfect.
Kind of the industry.
So as far as the accidental discharges on set, when did they occur?
Okay, so I think one was October 17th.
Okay.
They both occurred within 10 minutes of each other.
So they were on the same day?
They were on the same day, and it was chaotic for that little bit. But anyway, so I go to the bathroom. It's the first time I've been able to step off of set. I think it's like 4, 2, maybe 3 o'clock.
4, 2, maybe 3. Look at the way her mind works. I mean, it's just not. And people are going to say, man, you're just picking the big deal. This just doesn't seem normal to me. 30 to 20 minutes, 4, 2, maybe 3 o'clock. What?
Finally get to step off set. I'm on the toilet, and all of a sudden I hear some screaming in my earpiece. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? And then I hear Dave say, it's okay, everyone, it's just a misfire. And I go, what the fuck? So I run out of the bathroom with my pants halfway down. I'm running to set, trying to figure out what happened, and I walk up to set, and Sarah's, loading the guns. And I'm like, hey, like, how's it going? And she's all like, oh, good. I was like, what happened? She's like, nothing really. Can you load the one in there? And I say, okay, I'll go in there and I'll load that one because I had been loading that Henry with that stuntman for.
So this is where I would say, so has the armor in charge of safety, did you conduct any investigation or try to gather facts on what happened, what occurred, so it didn't happen again, so we could use this as a learning? Did you stop and have a safety? Did you do anything as the armor? She may say, no, I can't do that because the producer told me to go load a gun and I work for her, and if she doesn't want to do it, that would paint a picture, but we're not getting any picture because we're telling stories.
Quite some time now, probably like most of the day. So I go in there and I load it with him. I load that one with him and I tell him, all right, so.
I hope this girl comes back. So actually, you never ask any questions or found out on what happened on the accidental discharge when you were away. Were they not supposed to be handling guns? Who allowed them to handle guns? Were they only supposed to handle it when you were there? What the hell is your job and why do they have you? Ask some hard questions.
I say.
Oh shit, I'm at 31 minutes. All right, we'll go to part 3.